much for letting me come talk about economic development. I think it's an incredibly exciting topic. You might not, but hopefully I can change your mind before we're done here today. So all of you are business professionals, you work with organizations, so you understand a little bit about economics and what's needed to keep a community going, keep an organization going, keep a business going. So we're going to talk about this really from the economic development side using some of those terms. So, first of all, a definition. A couple definitions, actually. The International Economic Development Council has a definition that says that it's a set of policies, activities that promote well-being, community, quality of life. All of those make sense, right? Retaining jobs. In 2019, the city established the strategic plan, and one of the pillars of that is the economic sustainability. So that's part of my job, is supporting this to build the economic sustainability within the community. Very important. So how do we accomplish this? What are some of the elements that would go into economic development to make sure that we're building economic sustainability? And this is open audience, so there's a couple things I'm going to ask for audience participation today. So Jessica, you're smiling. What do you think?
Sure. Can you repeat the question?
So what would be some elements that go into economic sustainability or economic development?
That's a fabulous question.
What about jobs? That's
Jobs,
one.
yeah, that's tax base.
Tax base. Any other ideas? Okay, some of you, education,
Stores, restaurants.
stores,
Yeah.
restaurants,
Schools.
utilities, infrastructure,
Right, water.
water.
Fire, I guess.
Whatever you're thinking, you're not wrong.
I like that better.
So many things go into economic development. And depending on the project, the nature of the business, some of these elements are going to be more important than others at the time. Some businesses don't care about tax credits. For others, they're incredibly important. Some of them care about the cost of construction. Some of them don't, because they're not building right now anyway. They're just trying to survive. So as we talk about economic development, just keep in mind that there's lots of different factors that go into it. And all of them come together kind of like a puzzle. A lot of the projects that we work on in the city, it feels like you just dumped a puzzle box open on a table. And maybe those puzzle pieces all belong together, but maybe they don't. And it's a matter of sorting through it and trying to piece them together to reach the end project. And these are some of the pieces that go into the economic development program. It's the business tools and resources, very important, and we'll talk about those more later. Business retention and expansion. Not the businesses want to expand, and that's okay. But the businesses that are in our community, it's very important that they stay here if it makes sense for that business. Business attraction. There's other businesses that we want in our community that we don't have here right now.
Chicken restaurant.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor.
Coming soon, Mayor Zoe's restaurant.
The chicken restaurant. We've heard this before. But what other opportunities are there? Maybe there's an opportunity for a business incubator. Maybe there's an opportunity for a maker space and a market. Maybe there's other opportunities that we haven't even looked at yet. So that's something we keep in mind too. And then it's telling the story. Fort Lupton is a great place to do business. There's an incredibly supportive and invested community, and we love that. And to tell the story about businesses that, hey, they have the support here, we're a community that supports growth, and this is a great place to be, and the community supports you. So, why are these things important? What's in this photo? Anybody?
Ghost town. Ghost town.
Ghost town. Why did it become a ghost town?
Because it didn't have economic development?
Right. Very good, thank you. I wasn't there. It was before my time, and they couldn't duplicate me enough to be everywhere. So, sorry, a couple notes real quick. So, as we look at this, we have one that's a primary employer and one that's a secondary employer in these pictures. Let's get into that a little bit more. So primary and secondary employers, these are just economic development terms. A primary employer is a business that produces an item or service that's mostly sold outside the community. So when it goes outside the community, now I'm going to use my pointer. Let's say it's cookware, and it's going to go outside the community and be sold somewhere else. Oh, it moved. That says employers, believe it or not. And then when they sell it outside the community, then that money comes back into the community. So that's new money coming into the community to help grow the community. Once that primary employer gets that money, they can now pay their employees, and they can use it to buy goods and services from the local community. That helps to support the secondary employers. Secondary employers just means that that money is mostly circulating within the community. So obviously any business is going to have some people coming from outside the community, but mostly it's coming from inside the community. So as the primary employer pays their employees, the employees go and support all the other businesses in the community, and then these businesses can pay their employees, and this becomes kind of a circular economy because the money's mostly just flowing around within the community. So we need the primary employers to help balance it out and bring in new funds to help it grow. And I know this is an oversimplification of economics, but it works for our discussion here today. So this is where we have the primary and export economy, and then we have the secondary and local economy. When we don't have the balance of those, that's when we get the ghost towns. So we need both the primary employers and we need the secondary employers to have a balanced economy. When we don't have that, we can't have economic sustainability within our community. So, any questions on that? I went through it quick, but I think y'all get it. You're working with businesses, right? So here's how you can help. When I'm looking at all these pieces and trying to sort through them and organize it to figure out, okay, what will most help support our community, make it economically sustainable, and therefore support the businesses that are here. If you see available properties or know of available properties, which some people, they go to a broker, it's listed, it's everywhere you can see it. Others will only put a sign in their window and say, hey, come talk to me if you're interested. And others are, they're landowners, they're like, they don't want to mess with people, that's a hassle, they don't want to talk to brokers, but if somebody's interested, they might sell the property. So if you hear about things like that, please let me know. Because I can certainly, we do receive inquiries once in a while for, hey, I'm looking for 20 acres to build an industrial whatever, or to build a shopping center. When I know what's available, I can share that information to try to attract those new businesses. The other thing is the tools and resources for new and growing businesses. There are lots of them out there. And we'll talk a little bit more about this, but it helps me to know what's needed. So, for example, recently I learned about, and some of you may have heard of this, but it's the employee-owned businesses. There's a lot of programs right now in the state to focus on transitioning your business to your employees through ownership so that eventually they're more invested and eventually when you're ready to retire and move on, you can. It's transferred over, the business stays in the community. That's very attractive to me and to the community. But there's a lot of resources out there that we just don't normally think about maybe. So then what are the needs and opportunities? We talked about some of what might be opportunities, but maybe they fit here, maybe they don't.
Like a chicken restaurant?
Like a chicken restaurant. I think that's a given. Yeah. And then telling the story again about our community. It's a great place to be. And providing feedback. So anytime you hear about something we're doing, if you're like, yeah, that was a great idea, but it really didn't help any of the businesses that were here, that's good to know. Because why would we waste time and resources on something that doesn't help? So, or hey, no, that was great, and can you do more like that? That's also very good feedback. So any feedback you can provide is helpful. And in line with that, this is another audience participation. You'll notice on every table there are pens, Post-it notes. These questions are also printed out. I would sincerely appreciate your feedback in answering all these questions. There's no wrong answers. I mean that sincerely, there are no wrong answers. Even if you tell me chicken restaurant for every single question, there's no wrong answer. Not today, so no. But yeah, if you could just provide feedback on all of these things, these are all elements that are helping to direct the economic development program that we're building. The questions are, what do you think is most needed for sustainable economic growth of the community? That's supporting that strategic plan pillar. 2 is, what will help current Fort Lupton businesses the most? You're the businesses, you're the organizations, what do you need? Or if you've heard from people about, hey, I really need this, where can I get it? If you're telling Fort Lupton's story, economic development purposes, what would you highlight? What are the great things that other people should know about why they should be doing business here in Fort Lupton? You guys are great resources. I'm new to the community. You've been here involved much longer than I have. So all of that information is great to help me to tell the story. Economic development wish list. Chicken restaurant's already going on there. I forgot one. But this is wide open. It can be anything. It can be amusement park. It can be IKEA. Sorry, we're not going to get an IKEA, but you're welcome for IKEA. But anything. What's a wish list for economic development? And then finally, looking toward the future, what's going to make Fort Lupton unique and distinguish us from other communities?
A chicken restaurant?
A chicken restaurant. I think there might be some other communities that have chicken restaurants, but I'm not sure.
Definitely.
Let's bring back White Fence Farm.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
From Lakewood, yeah, that was really special.
That was a good place.
So if you could just try not to answer, these are all logged separately, so if you could answer only one question per post-it, but you can put 5 answers to that one question on a post-it, or however you want to do it. I've been asking these questions of different groups, and I'm logging all of them. And it's nice to see there's about 5 themes that are coming out of it, and that's kind of where the focus is to help build the program. One of those, I'm very excited to announce, is that we're doing a business resource fair. So after Trapper Days on September 19th, we're going to do a business resource fair at the library. The library itself, thank you. The library itself is a huge resource for businesses. In case you don't know, the new library especially, you can go in and reserve a room to hold meetings and check out the equipment to do a professional presentation. They can also help you with research. You can check out a hotspot to take with you to go to meetings, make sure you have internet connection. They have incredible resources. So we're holding it there to make businesses aware of that. Some of the other organizations that are going to be involved, you see on the second one over here, this is some of the nature of the things they offer. Small Business Development Center will be there. They do one-on-one consulting. It's free of charge and it's confidential. They offer a number of other online trainings and or group trainings. Employment Services of Weld County is going to be there. They help with advertising and marketing your position, screening, interviews, all those things. For those that are manufacturers, Manufacturers Edge out of Denver is going to be participating. They work directly with manufacturers to help them streamline their processes, do exporting if it makes sense for them, all of those things. So we're bringing in a wide variety. Startup Colorado will be there, so a wide variety. And I did want to say a special thanks to both Bank of Colorado and United Power because they are sponsoring this event. So thank you so much. This is, to my knowledge, this is the first time this has been done in Fort Lupton. I don't know, maybe it has been done previously, but it's just wanting to make sure that, like one big one that started me down this path is that most businesses in Fort Lupton don't realize that they qualify for state enterprise zone tax credits. And the whole area, every business in Fort Lupton, if they are investing in equipment, creating new jobs, so hiring, and paying for the benefits for those jobs, they can actually qualify for state income tax credits just for doing those activities. So, and I think a lot of businesses don't realize that. Now for some businesses, it doesn't matter because they don't have a state income tax obligation, so it doesn't matter, it doesn't benefit them. But as they accumulate those, they can actually sell them off to other organizations in the future. So those are things that just businesses aren't aware of, and I want to make sure that every business is aware of the myriad of resources available to them. So that's what I have. Got through pretty quick. But before you leave today, please provide feedback to the questions. Just take them up, stick them up on the questions over here on the side. 1 through 3 are this side, 4 and 5 are on the corner. But again, I am logging all of it, so I'd really appreciate your feedback on it. Does anybody have any questions? I went through that super quick, but yeah. Any questions?
On the website?
Not yet, but it will be. And the great news is I ordered these lovely cards to be able to hand out today, and they're going to be delivered tomorrow. I was like, oh. But anyhow, so I'll have them available. And if you'd like some, I'm happy to bring them to your business or organization. Or if you have business, you'll set them on a countertop so other people can get them. But I'm sorry, Lupton and Circle, did I say thank you very much to United Power and Bank of Colorado for sponsoring? Okay, I want to make sure I said both. Thank you so much. And because we want to make sure everybody can collect lots of resources, we're going to be giving out these lovely bags.
Nice.
They are nice bags, so come, I can give you a bag.
They're great at the grocery store.
Any other questions at all about economic development?
How many primary employers are there in Fort Lupton at this time?
I don't have that number yet. Thank you for asking. I'm working on that. The fun thing is there's been some new companies that are moving in that are manufacturers and or service oriented and newer industries. So some of the newer renewable energies. So I'm still working to get a handle on that. The challenge is we're finding that I'm working with the fire department because they go in and inspect every business. Their list is a lot longer than the list of business licenses for the city, so we're working to correlate that. So reminders, well, your business license needs to be renewed every year. So, and it's a very small fee, but if you can do that, then we're connected to you to provide you all these resources. So, Brian.
So as you've gotten into this role so far, what's been is there a main challenge that stands out to you that you've noticed in regards to attracting primary or secondary employers?
This question, for those who didn't hear it, is just what challenges I might have faced for attraction. The attraction is part of it is the telling the story, making people aware of Fort Lupton and that we're here and we're so close to the metro area and we're accessible via highway and we've got land available. So those are the challenges. On the commercial side of it, it's been getting a handle on how much space is available for commercial development. And then a challenge, and I've talked to city council about this before, we want a chicken restaurant, we want IKEA, I'll use IKEA. Where are we gonna put them? I have to be able to identify the land where they can go and locate. We don't necessarily have any pad sites available where I can tell them, go pick this pad site and build your building. We do have land in the city that's designated for commercial, but it's partnering with commercial developers to get those going. So that's a challenge that is a target for this year. So it's great, the city has so many wonderful resources and the properties, but it's making that connection and making the people that are the ones that can invest in it aware of it. But the good news is we have had some businesses come moving north from Commerce City. Those are our new manufacturers and developers, and that's kind of been exciting to see. And not all of them are coming from Commerce City. Some are just new, and we've got their attention. So, thank you. Any other questions? Any other ideas?
Just a comment, I would just say that I think the entire community has to be a partner in that with the city. That it's about schools, it's about law enforcement, it's about fire department, it's about people keeping their lawns up and just making this a desirable community for people to come in to. And I've just seen that. I think that's a big challenge for everybody here. And I think it'll take the whole community to help the city grow and do those types of things. So it's just more of a comment that I think it's a partnership that we all have to be committed to.
No, thank you for that, and I wholeheartedly agree. Because if we're working with a company, so economic development process, every once in a while we get inquiries from, we call it a blind prospect, we get very little information. They say we want 100 acres, 20 acres, it's going to be commercial, it's going to be industrial. So first step is, do you have that available? Second step is, and tell us about your community. How are the schools? What amenities and resources are available? What are the benefits of your community? And yeah, it absolutely ties into the entire community. Because we can tell them all the great things we know about the community, but if they send somebody in to drive it, are they seeing what we're telling them? Are they looking online and seeing the data that supports what we've told them about how great it is? So yeah, it's absolutely an entire community, and we'll keep moving forward on that.
And I think some of the small things that we've seen, especially with the city, the public works crews, the development, the planning, the improvements in the roadways, some of the things improving downtown, those are also such key things that, right, the first impression is when you drive into a community, what do you see? So I think that that's kudos to the city because they've done a lot of that improvement. And they continue to work on it. I don't think we'll ever get there, right? I mean, it's always an ongoing process, but it's been great steps forward. So that's a good thing.
Thank you for that feedback. Appreciate it for sure.
I would just like to say one comment about Michelle. She has fabulous, amazing, incredible questions. Every time I talk to you, you come up with something else that I'm like, I never would have thought of that. That's a brilliant question. So if you know anybody that's thought about starting a business, that wants to open a chicken restaurant, she's got ideas. I would highly, highly, highly recommend something with her.
Thank you. Very good. So yeah. So thank you. That's economic development in a nutshell. Went pretty quick, but genuinely, my business cards are on the table. The questions are on the table. If you take them back to your team and say, hey, what do you think? I would love that feedback. They can email it to me. I am recording everything. So I've done it with staff, I've done it with other groups. And just watching the themes and say, okay, because this is the theme that's coming up, what can we do to address that? And knowing that, it's interesting, I think I shared with somebody this morning, I can't remember who, but there's a couple of the themes, the answers are showing up on like 3 different questions, or 4 different questions. It's like, okay, this is a big issue, and I can see where people say that it ties into all these areas. So what can we do about it? So, and going forward, I've been on the job now 8 months, I think, so we've got a ways to go. But as we get this feedback, that's where it's going to help to guide, okay, where do we go now? Where do we need to focus now? What's the priority? And there's some of it that's like, okay, we can't impact that right now. I get it's a priority, but we can't impact it right now. So what do we have to put in place to be able to impact it and move forward? So, but thank you all for your attention today and the information. I will greatly appreciate your feedback. The Business Resource Fair is open to everybody. So we're going to be advertising it in every newspaper I can get it into. So if you have friends, neighbors who are like, yeah, I've always thought about starting my own business, send them. It's completely free, it's open to everybody, and there's going to be lots of information. So this is kind of a, you don't know what you don't know. So come and find out what you don't know.
Is
and
that
see if it'll help.
available on the social channels? That,
Not
so
yet.
You could share that, so I can share that with my tribes.
Yes, but not yet.
Okay.
I was kind of waiting to make sure I had it in place, and our sponsors are just, we got those locked down, so.
Very shortly. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned by the end of the week.
Yay.
So yeah. But yeah, please do share it far and wide, and again, I'll have these cards available, happy to deliver them. I'll have them at the next lunch, but that's a month away, so feel free to visit. But thank you all, I appreciate it, and I'll turn it back to you.